Hey everyone, RogueGold here, and so today I thought I would show you guys what my PVE build for Title Update 6 is looking like. And I know I'm not the top, PVE guy. I don't even try and claim to be. I like the DZ and PvP the most in this game, but I do enjoy going through the raid, and I do enjoy doing the weekly invasions and all that kind of stuff. So I thought I would just show you guys what I put together when I do run those activities. So let's hop right into it. I have got, starting off with my primary, I used to use the Eagle Bear pretty much exclusively for PvE just because of how powerful that talent is and how quickly it could go through ads, but I recently got the Railsplitter named Cetar, which is an AR, and I have a video on it in the channel. I'll leave it in the description if you want to find out more about it and where to get it, but it has perfectly measured and Allegro, and this thing just tears through ads, especially on like hard and challenging difficulties. This thing is super strong. And I've just, I've been using more of the Eagle Bear, but you could also definitely use the Eagle Bear and it will do a ton of damage, as the Eagle Bear usually does. And then my secondary, I've got the Nemesis, just because I love sniping, as I always say, and Nemesis is the best sniper, so there you go. Does very much against ads when you get that full charge. And now my pistol, of course, I've got protected reload as per most of my builds. So then moving on to the gear, the mask, I have a new named item called the Punch Drunk, which gives you perfect concussion, which this is a super strong named item because the recoil in this game is significantly easier to control than in Division 1, and this really just lets you lay into ads and put them down really quickly when you get the extra headshot damage with an AR or a sniper, any of those things. And so I have extra health rolled on here, which I did that because I needed an extra blue, otherwise I might have skill power or something, but you don't really need it for this build, and I'll get into that. But I have health, and then I have 26% damage to elites, which is not the highest. So I guess if I had my choice, I would roll the damage to elites higher, because that is not super high, but what this mask gives you in return is definitely worth the sacrifice of not having up to, upwards of 50% damage to elites. So then my chest piece is another named item called the Zero Fs, and it is a named Badger chest piece, which has perfectly unbreakable. So instead of the usual 70% that unbreakable gives you, this gives you 100% in PvE, and I think that's 35% in PvP. But yeah, this is super strong in stuff like the raid and heroic missions, just to get basically a second life. It's basically just Nomad, full Nomad now, not just partial Nomad like the normal unbreakable is. So this is really good. Comes with 3 blues, mind it. I got this one from the Thieves Den guy, and so if I get a better one, I will probably replace it eventually, but I need a lot of blues. I need 11 to be exact to unlock unbreakable, and I have 11 on this build, so I gotta rearrange some stuff if I want to make sure I get that. Right now, mine has 10% health, 10,000 health, and then 30% total armor. I would definitely probably want a flat armor value on one of the health rolls there if I had my say, but this is good for now. This is how I want it. And then on the mods, I have 1 red AR damage mod and 1 armor total armor blue mod. So then moving on, Gila holster, the usual suspect, my favorite piece of gear in the game. On this one, I have crit chance and health instead of skill power, as I usually do, and that is because I needed a lot of reds to unlock concussion, which takes 7 reds. Although I am 1 over, so somewhere I could lose a red, but for now I'm just keeping it this way, and you'll see why I don't really need skill power on this build as I have it set up. And then I have that in 32,000 health, and then 2 red AR damage mods on there. And then moving on to the backpack, we have the Fenris to get the assault rifle damage, and then I also have another piece of Fenris, which is giving me 10% protection from elites, which is really nice to have in the heroic missions and definitely the raid. So on here I have weapon damage, armor, and health, and then I have hardened. And I don't really think there's any specific active backpack talents that you need for this build. Like I have skilled on here, I'm not unlocking that. You can't use efficient because you have unbreakable, and you can't, from the top of my head, there's not really anything worthwhile. So if you can just get hardened on there, or vital if you have hardened somewhere else, but you wouldn't on the chest piece if you're running the 0F. So hardened on here, and the way I have it rolled is definitely how I want it, and that doesn't come with any mods. So then moving on to the gloves, we have the Fenris gloves here, and I have 9% AR damage and 2% crit chance with Devastating. Not much to say about that. Having the 2-piece Fenris is definitely nice to get the extra protection from elites. And I guess I didn't go into it, but I have Badger here, which is giving 7% damage to elites, which is definitely very nice. And then the mask, the brand, can't really control that because that's where the talent comes on, but extra accuracy, I guess, is nice for the Cetar. And then lastly, I have Gila knee pads. just because these are super good for PvE the way I have them rolled. I have 11.5 total armor, and then I have hard hitting, of course, which you only need once on your build now. Know that they changed the passive talents in TU6, but you definitely need hard hitting in one slot, so that's where I chose to have mine. And then I have 2 armor, total armor, blue mods there. And I didn't go over the mods on my gun, which are a little important because I have the damage to elites mod there, and then that's the only one. So then my total damage to elites on this build gets up to, we'll go down here, gets up to 63%, which is still pretty high. I mean, I'm missing out on that mask roll, which would take it up to easily 80, if not higher. So it's in a pretty good spot. And then I'm running the survivalist specialization because partly for my heal, which I'll go into right after this, but also because you get an extra 15% protection from elites, which now shows in the stat sheet. So if I go down here, I have 29%, which is a fair amount. That's definitely going to give you more survivability when you're doing that upper tier content. And then for my skills, of course, I have the Revive Hive just because I'm a pleb and I like to have that extra revive when I go down. And then for the heal, what the Survivalist gives you is the Mender Seeker Mine. And this thing, I don't specifically remember them saying it got buffed in the patch notes, but it definitely is doing a lot. My regular healing on it is 28,000. That's in the non-DZ or conflict areas. And that's quite a bit. I mean, as you'll see in some of the footage, I'm getting plenty of heal from it. And all I have is the 50% heal mod that you get from the Survivalist tree. And that's literally the only healing I have on my whole build here, because I don't have any skill power anywhere. And it's still giving me a large amount of healing. Pretty much all I would need. I don't really need anything else. And so yeah, I think that's the whole build there. And so I will play some footage of me going through a landmark in the Dark Zone. You'll see a kind of a hard, challenging tier, what it does there. And then I will also show a bit of footage from a heroic mission to see how it performs in there. And yeah, I think that's it, guys. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, leaving a like would be very appreciated, and make sure you subscribe with notifications on for more awesome Division 2 content. And until the next one, guys, RogueGold, out.
Engaging landmark.
Shit! Got a man down! Someone give me another gun!
That's it.
Let's see how they like this.
Got a jammer here!
Hostile civilian targeted.
Stand by! Don't see... all day.
Covering fire.
Hit him!
What do you see?
Contaminated gear detected.